The first ever Star Wars open world game, Star Wars Outlaws, is here. Aww. But does this game live up to the expectations of the Star Wars fandom? Is the story really good, or is the price point too high and the gameplay full of glitches? We're going to talk about all of it, as this is my spoiler-free review for Star Wars Outlaws. So first, let's start with what the f*** is Star Wars Outlaws? This new Star Wars game by Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment is a fun open-world action-adventure set in the time between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. You play as a young smuggler named Kay Vess, who has lived on the planet Canto Bight for her entire life, and is now joining the Star Wars underworlds to get off the planet and live a free life. In this third-person game, everything is up in the air. There are 4 different crime syndicates that you come into contact with in this game, from the Pikes to the Crimson Dawn to the Hutts to the Ashiga clan. All these different syndicates control different aspects of different planets in this game, many of them giving you familiar faces that you've seen before in Star Wars. Jabba the Hutt being the ruler of the Hutt clan on Tatooine.
You will bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me.
And Kira being the leader of the Crimson Dawn. The last time we saw Kira was at the end of the Solo movie, where she was going to train with the legendary Sith Lord Darth Maul.
Bring the ship and come to me on Dathomir, and you and I will then decide what to do about the traitor Beckett.
In all 4 of these crime syndicates, you can grow a different relationship with. This game is fully based off of the reputation that you decide to have with these crime syndicates. So every person who plays Star Wars Outlaws will get a different version of the game. For example, if you're talking to somebody who works for the Crimson Dawn, you might be asked whether you want to give information to them or keep it a secret to give to the Pikes later. If you give it to the Crimson Dawn, it will help your reputation with the Crimson Dawn, but it will make your reputation with the Pikes even worse. So although this is just a cool story in the Star Wars galaxy that allows fans to live in Star Wars, it also has a ton of aspects in the game, like reputation, that allow each individual Star Wars fan to have a different experience with this game. Unlike the Star Wars Jedi series that has come before, Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, Kay Vess is only a smuggler, not a Jedi. So she's not wielding a lightsaber and not using the Force. Instead, she has a blaster, a grapple, and a furry little friend named Nix. Nix is helpful in all sorts of ways throughout this game, as you can send him to go attack enemies or distract enemies, or even steal from them. Kay's ship, the Trailblazer that will remind many Star Wars fans of the Millennium Falcon, is constantly being broken down and you having to find parts to upgrade it. Now, the open world aspect of this game is very cool, as there are 5 different Star Wars planets that you can go to and fully explore in the open world. Like I mentioned before, you start on Canto Bight, which is very recognizable because this planet is also in The Last Jedi. It's the casino planet where Finn and Rose free all the animals. The second planet, Toshara, is a new one in the Star Wars galaxy. It's more of a savannah-like planet with a very heavy presence of the Pike Syndicate. Then you have Kijimi, another sequel trilogy planet that was seen in The Rise of Skywalker. This is the planet where we get the fight between Kylo Ren and Rey, where Darth Vader gets involved. But that was the only time we've ever seen Kijimi in Star Wars canon until now. The 4th planet is Akiva, and although it doesn't sound familiar, it does have a canon appearance before this game in the Star Wars Aftermath books. These are canon novels that take place after Return of the Jedi. And the 5th and final planet, of course, is Tatooine, run by the Hutt Syndicate, or Jabba the Hutt. This planet has been seen since 1977 in Star Wars, and it shows up time and time again. All of these worlds are completely open to your exploration. You can follow the main story missions in this game, or you can go do whatever you want. Go on side missions, talk to random pedestrians and help them out. There is an infinite amount of things that you can do in this game. You don't just have to follow the story. But the story is a good one. If you were to play through the whole entire story, it would take you about 20 hours. This story starts with Kay Vess stealing from a new crime syndicate, the Zarek Besh. The leader of the Zarek Besh is Slero. He's this Craven the Hunter looking motherfucker who means business. And he is the main villain who is chasing after you the entire game. So that is, without any spoilers, Star Wars Outlaws. Now for my review, I do have some pros and I do have some cons. I will say though, it's a lot more pros than there is cons, as so far I'm just having a really fun time playing this game.
This is where the fun begins.
So let's start with the pros. Like I said before, it is the first open world Star Wars game, and it feels like it. It feels like you are Kay Vess and you are inside of Star Wars just going on fun adventures. Although playing as Cal Kestis in Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order is really fun, being able to use the Force and a lightsaber, it's not open world. So this Outlaws game has a very different feel than any other Star Wars game I've played before. Another big pro behind this game is where it takes place in the Star Wars timeline. It takes place in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which allows us to see one of the coolest time periods in Star Wars, with the Empire at its peak and the underworld also at its peak, while allowing us to see some familiar faces from the Star Wars universe that we know and love. Another big pro for this game is what I mentioned earlier, the reputation system. Having it be a different story for everybody who plays this game. Because if you have a good relationship with the Pikes and a bad relationship with the Hutts, you're going to be roaming around Tatooine, maybe hanging out in the cantina, and you'll just randomly be attacked by the Hutt clan. However, if another Star Wars fan who's playing this game has a great relationship with the Hutts, then they're not going to get attacked. Some more pros are the graphics, the cutscenes, and the visuals. It's very hard to pull off this massive game with 5 open worlds, and yet still the visuals are incredible. But with all that being said, there are some cons.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Although I haven't personally gotten a lot of this, I have seen a lot of it online with a lot of glitches in this game. Kay Vess either phasing through walls or phasing through the floor, just randomly dropping the gun she's holding. There are a few bugs when it comes to the gameplay itself. Another big con that many fans are talking about is the constant sneaking around. It is a strategy game, so it's a lot of sneaking around to try to do missions without being caught by the Empire or the Syndicates. But if you wanted, you could choose to just blast your way out. However, the crouching and sneaking around does get very repetitive. Now, the last con, and probably the biggest one for this game, is the price. The standard base model for this game is $69.99, $70. And if you want the 3-day early access, it's $110. And for the Ultimate Edition, it's $130. And many Star Wars fans, myself included, are not very happy about this price point. I understand that they need to make money off of this game, and it's not a multiplayer game, so they can't have a battle pass or any other way to make money, so they have to make it up front, but I feel like there has to be a better way. $70 for the base game is so expensive for Star Wars fans who don't have that kind of money. And maybe they do have the $70, but they don't have the current consoles, because this game is only available on the latest generation of consoles, PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's and S's. But with all of that being said, I've had a blast playing Star Wars Outlaws so far, and I hope you have the opportunity to play it as well. And my final ranking out of 10 will come in the full-on spoiler-filled review that will come later on. But tell me what you think in the comment section below. Have you played through Star Wars Outlaws yet? And if you have, tell me out of 10 in the comment section below, what do you rank this game? And if you want more, I just made this crazy video about the huge problem going on in the Star Wars fandom right now. And this is a problem that needs to be addressed, but I cover all of that in this video right here.